It was the 1930s and the Great Depression was going on. Stock markets were crashing, people had no jobs, and everything was in black and white. Life was grim, but for a few lucky West Virginians, things were about to change. It all started with Lorena Hickok. Lorena was a friend of the president's wife, the 5'7" Eleanor Roosevelt. In 1933, Lorena visited Scotts Run, an area in Mon County. Lorena told the 5'7" Eleanor about this place, and I imagine it went something like this. "Oh, Eleanor, I visited this place called Scotts Run in West Virginia, and the living conditions were absolutely horrid. Oh, dearie me, how dreadful. Perhaps we should do something for those poor, poor people. What a smashing idea! I will go tell my husband immediately." "Oh, Franklin, I just had the most marvelous idea. We should make a new town for those poor people in West Virginia. It will be amazing." Okay. So they did. The town was the first of several New Deal settlements. The land was bought from Richard Arthur. This is the Arthur Mansion, where he lived. To give you an idea of how very different things looked back then, here's Arthurdale now. Back then, these buildings weren't there. Neither were these signs, or these telephone poles. There were probably more trees around, too. Also, since this was way back in the 30s, there were probably dinosaurs. It was really different. For people to live in the town, they had to pass a test to prove that they knew how to grow crops and be able to have their own land. And also, they had to be white. Eleanor, the wonderful 5'7" person she was, wanted to allow blacks, but if black people lived there, they would have little black children, and the children would have to go to school. The builders or whatever were too lazy to make another school for the black kids, and obviously they couldn't send the kids to the same school. That'd be crazy. So instead, just white people lived there. This is the Arthurdale Heritage Center, where people carry out their sinister plot to restore Arthurdale so that we can learn about history. This is the Great Hall, where people worshipped and had social events. It was made from an old church that was disassembled, and then they reassembled it here. Here are the weaving looms, furniture factory, co-op store, and some classrooms. This was the craft shop, and it's still the craft shop. This is the visitor center, but it used to be a barber shop. This is the forge. Things are built and repaired here. Here's the roof. This is the administration building, where people went to pay their taxes. It now holds old stuff from way back when. Here's old stuff from way back when. There's document stuff, campaign stuff, pottery stuff, school stuff. And Mr. Byrne was right, everybody did look the same in the 50s. There's dress stuff, instrument stuff, weaving stuff, furniture stuff, and pewter stuff. There are even some gunnery target kites, which were made in Arthurdale in World War II. And this is the window where people went to pay their rent. This is the hospice building. It used to be an inn. This is the school. These buildings used to be the high school, and then they became part of the elementary school. And then about 10 years ago, they decided to stop using those buildings, and now they're just useless. This is the gym. Eleanor Roosevelt, who is 5 feet and 7 inches tall, danced in this gym. To commemorate this, little kids who went to school here in the 90s had to learn how to square dance. I hope they don't have to do that anymore. Actually, I hope they do. Dumb kids. This is the WVU experimental farm. I'm not sure what experiments they get up to in there, but I like to imagine it involves radioactive cows. This is the Arthurdale Cemetery, which is the only original cooperative still operating in Arthurdale. I wanted to walk up and see the Fairfax Cemetery, which was built in the 1700s. There was this dog in the road and it was barking at us, and I didn't film it, but it was a big dog. So instead we kind of just drove past the cemetery so you can kind of see it. And that's pretty much everything. They still do stuff here, including the New Deal Festival every July or something. So yeah, Arthurdale, go there.
You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby, right round, round, round. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like